This is a minute with Marty. We have got a great and a unique topic for today. We got a great guest. We currently have Flip Hutfles from the City of Lancaster. Now, whether you live in the city or you live in the county, you come in the city. And Flip is a person that you definitely need to know. And we've got him here today to answer some questions that a lot of people have had. And Flip, it is great to have you with us today.
Thanks, Marty. Appreciate being part of your minute.
All right, well, good deal. Well, there's probably a lot of people, Flip, that doesn't know who Flip is. Tell us who Flip is.
Well, Flip has been the city administrator for Lancaster since November 2015. He received his undergraduate in political science from Newberry College. And in fact, I'm still an active alumni. I'm on the Newberry College Board of Alumni Managers. I received my first master's in city and regional planning from Clemson University.
Mhm.
Worked overseas with the Peace Corps. Then when I came back to the States, got my second master's in public administration. I worked for the United Nations in Kosovo. I worked in Missouri and Kansas, but always wanted to come back to South Carolina. And when the position opened up, I took my chance and I got lucky.
Awesome. Now, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Illinois, a small town about 75 miles southwest of Chicago.
Okay. And as part of that, I didn't realize you worked with the Peace Corps.
Yes, yeah, I was a
Now,
Peace
what
Corps
what
volunteer.
what what spurred that?
Well, when I was younger, I lived overseas. My father worked for Mobil Oil. So I lived in Saudi Arabia for 2 years, my eighth and ninth grade. Loved being overseas. Wanted an opportunity to work overseas, but also help my fellow man. And after graduate school from Clemson, opportunity opened up. I was young, figured it'd be the best time.
Mhm.
So worked 2 years in Western Russia as a municipal advisor.
Wow, man, that's awesome. What does a city administrator? What's your responsibility? What do they do?
Well, a city administrator is supposed to make the council look good. And that is accomplished by providing staff the resources to implement the council's goals and objectives. Sometimes the resources is more staffing, more equipment, or removing some roadblocks for the staff to do their jobs. Um, so my personal opinion is if the city administrator is doing a good job, no one knows who he is. Meaning
Okay.
everything's going good, people don't have any complaints, and another council, they're working well together and we're getting things accomplished.
Okay. Well, good deal. Tell me where the Flip name come from.
Oh, Flip is an old college nickname that I got from when I was in the fraternity.
Okay. All right, good. That's how I know when somebody calls me my legal name, I know they don't know me. So it's that's interesting.
And that's part of my, to me, Flip was always more approachable, more down to earth, and people remember the name.
That's
When
right.
I worked, before I came to Lancaster, I worked in Fredonia, Kansas. And when I called, the State House or up in Topeka, it was like, oh yeah, it's Flip from Fredonia. We know who you are.
That's right. Good. Awesome. All right. Now, we agreed to do this. I told you I sent out some questions on Facebook, just got some ideas. I kind of knew what some of those were going to be. And to all fairness, everybody know, I let Flip know kind of what these questions were, so he would be prepared. And one of them was, what's the plan to fix the appearance of downtown? That has been one of those that I know it's probably been a thorn in your side a little bit, and because I'm sure you've gotten questions. So kind of give the residents some idea of what's the plan.
Well, the plan is we are working closely with the property owners, trying to match specific entrepreneurs or developers to help them, open a business or establish an enterprise. Because part of the appearance is just the empty buildings. So when we got a business in there, that will help. Also, would create more activity and more life, if you want to say. This budget year, fiscal year, which started July, council earmarked $400,000 for a downtown rehabilitation grant, which will be sent to the Red Rose City Development Corporation. They will manage the grant, but the grant idea is to help with the roofing issue, plumbing, a facade, repairing windows, just trying to have some monies available to help the building owner, the property owners, maintain the properties.
When I sent this out, there were several questions that came to front that said, I know the city spent a lot of money on consultants years ago to come in, and there was supposed to be different things we're looking at doing. Did we run out of money? Did COVID happen? I mean, what happened from when that vision was cast about what downtown was going to look like?
Well, COVID did put a little hiccup in the planning process and implementation. But for example, one of the plans, or what it called for, was to do the Gay Street Commons, the 100 block of West Gay Street, to make it more into a festival feel, try and put all the utilities on the ground, have like brick or pavers. So what we did using that is actually on the capital sales tax project 3. It's number 8 on the list. So hopefully in the next couple of years, when that money has been collected, we can start making that repair and making those improvements. We've also been we have some concept plans for a downtown farmers market, and a concept plan to revitalize, the green space at the corner of Gay and Main, where we have a concert and Finally Friday series. Part of that is, city, we don't own those properties, so we have to work with the property owners. We try and find some properties for the farmers market. It's just, a long-term process.
Mm-hmm. And that said, are there any incentives to help businesses move downtown? What's in incentives for those that have buildings that's just been sitting there to actually do something with them?
Well, the one, like I said, the $400,000 grant that I earlier mentioned, but another incentive is both the city and the county a couple of years ago passed what's called the Bailey Bill. What that does, if a property owner rehab a historical building or in a historical district, most of downtown is in a federal national historical district. So if someone spends a couple $1 million to rehab a building, their property tax does not increase. It's still assessed at the current valuation for both the city and county for 20 years. So that is a way to help them recoup some of the cost or take the additional monies that would have been spent in the future for property tax to put back into the building.
Okay. And speaking of historical, is there anything that can be done with the Ellen Dean Hotel?
Well, one thing with Ellen Dean, what they have done is that building is now on the National Register of Historical Places. One reason they want it on the register is they will receive a 20% tax credit for rehabilitation cost. And also they can receive another 10% tax credit from the state and a 25% tax credit for abandoned buildings. So they have about 55% of the rehabilitation cost can be brought back as a tax credit. So to help offset that cost. Now, if someone doesn't have $1 million tax liability, then those tax credits could be sold. And that's how a lot of the developers finance the projects. Now, the tax credits are not sold one-to-one. It's maybe like 80 cents to $1. So if I got $1 credit, I sell it for 80 cents. Now the business have $1 to use a tax credit, but that is a way to get some revenue in for the rehabilitation. And they do have a plan with the L&D. That way, I'm sorry, they do have a plan with the L&D. So hopefully in the next couple of years, we'll start seeing some forward progress on that building.
Yeah. Now, this is kind of on a side note. Is it or question? Is there not a way to put? I mean, it's not just the Ellendine, the old Kanawha building down there that got sold. And is there a way to increase pressure on owners like that to do something? Because that's where a lot of the questions come on. People just see this every day and they're like, there's nothing being done. So they kind of have those questions. Okay, what are we making or trying to make the owners of these properties make this better?
Well, what we do is we try to match up, like I said, the developers or some other business entrepreneurs that have an interest, trying to balance that with the property owner's right to own the building. If they have a set point, what they think their property wants to sell it for, trying to respect that, but also still trying to encourage them to make investments or to improve the buildings. We have a couple of buildings in downtown where the owners are slowly making improvements and trying to find the right fit, or the right person to take over the building.
I don't think a lot of people understand that the old Springs block was bought or purchased by a German family, correct? This is someone that does not live here, so that's part of some of the issue.
Well, it is. Unlike most other smaller towns, we know who all the owners are. So we do reach out and we have conversation with them on a regular basis. The owner of the Spring Blocks, he does come to Lancaster probably 4 months out of the year. He is here. He is working, maintaining the building. He has that building on the market. So he works with the commercial real estate agent and is trying to, hopefully he can find the right match for him.
All right, here's another one. This was kind of, and I don't think I had it on the question, but it goes down about the appearance of downtown. Who, when I was a kid, used to go downtown on during Christmas. I'm telling you, it was really decorated. I mean, it was a draw to downtown, and it's been many years since it's just really been. If you go back and look, because once in a while the newspaper, Lancaster News, will show. I'm say old. Well, I'm old. Picture from the 60s and go, this was downtown, and you see it so decorated for Christmas to draw in. Who is responsible for those things now? Because that question does come up often.
That would be the city. Last year, I want to say we spent $25,000 or $30,000 buying more decorations. 2 years ago, we bought the new Christmas tree. Last year, we bought some other ornaments to try and decorate. And that's what we're slowly doing. We're trying to build up, put more decorations. And last year, we had the garlands and the bows. Working with Duke Energy, looking at the possibility maybe to string lights along the lamp post, and just trying to slowly add more stuff to it.
Okay. Now here's another biggie. And correct me if I'm wrong, the city council may have had some input on this. When the state went in and redid Main Street and they took it from 4 to 2 lanes, and right here at the light near my office, they took away right there at the courthouse. They took away the left turn lane. That causes a lot of confusion. Cars almost hit each other daily when you go by there, and when you go down at certain times of the day, if traffic from that light down in near Arby's is backed up almost to the post office. People have had a lot of frustrations over that. In fact, several people have made statements, I don't even go down Main Street anymore because of that. Is there a way to fix some of that? I don't know if the traffic light, I know some of this is the state, change when the light changes, because literally if you're not sitting at the Wachovia sign when that light changes, you don't get through the light. And it is a frustration. Is there anything that can be done to help the flow of traffic down through here?
Well, a road diet was done when you reduce the lanes. The reason for the road diet was to reduce the amount of accidents. And from Covington Place south to Meeting, there's been a great reduction heading south back to downtown. And when you have the 4 lanes, you have people being sideswiped. The trucks were taking almost 1.5 of the lanes. And you have people, just stopping to turn or try to make a quick cut. So that has greatly been reduced, the number of accidents that have occurred. The lights, that is something we've worked with DOT. I know they have done some work on the timing, trying to keep the traffic flowing. And unfortunately, usually it's around lunchtime or 5 o'clock when you have that big jam of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of just weighing, okay, that frustration with reduction of accidents.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now this is just me, I had called the state about that left turn lane gone here at the light. And the statement to me is we don't have the traffic to justify the left turn lane. And I said, wait a minute, we have more people in Lancaster County now than when I grew up, and that left turn lane has been there since, and I'm 55. It's been there a long time. So that is one area that is an issue. If they can change that left turn lane going down West Meeting Street, and the light at my office has a left turn lane that doesn't have nearly the traffic that West Meeting Street has going towards the hospital. So those are just some of the few things that you just hear a lot of issues with traffic around here. So if some of those things can be, the traffic light maybe looked at again, and somebody take a look at that left turn lane option again, would really help right there at the courthouse, because you can sit there and watch some crazy stuff go on at that light.
Well, because I did have a conversation with DOT when the restriping and repaving was done, and you are right. I think that was their reply, it's just a traffic count, and that's how they base their decisions. I mean, they have the formulas based on the traffic flow and number of traffic. So I do not think they're going to change, because we had that conversation, and it was, well, then we have to bump it up to the next street to make the turn lane. So
yeah,
that will probably be that way until, like you said, the population of Lancaster itself is increasing, and the county definitely is increasing. So it could be something in another 3 or 4 years, the numbers come back a little different. Then we'll start making plans.
Yeah. Okay. They must have really changed their traffic count, because like I said, that left turn lane has been there since I think they paved the road. So it is some reason we've probably doubled in the county, because county people still come down Main Street.
Oh yeah.
So it's just one of those things. So okay, well, at least people know. I mean, because that has been one of those questions. All right, now on one of my final questions here is there any update on the plan for additional subdivisions and apartments within the city? Okay, I've noticed some things in the paper. Is there any kind of update you can give us on that?
Well, I can say, we have one subdivision that's currently being built out. It's Rosegate. It is behind Applebee's. That is 176 homes, single-family dwelling units. And I think there's about 30 some lots available. Now, Rosegate is being built by Ryan Homes, and everything is pre-sold. So there's no spec buildings. So everything in the building, someone bought the house.
Yeah.
Ryan Homes is also building Basilton, which is off of University Drive. That's a 355 subdivision. I would describe Basilton, they like Rosegate, most of their homes are single family. I mean, excuse me, one story. Basilton is gonna make 2 stories, a little bigger. So, Rosegate was designed for first-time home buyers or those people are downsizing. Basilton for the family that's in that in-between stage. Granite Falls, we have approved all their plans. That is going to be a 278 single-family housing subdivision across from Arrowwood on 521. They should start doing the clearing and grubbing late this summer and putting infrastructure in the winter, fall and early winter. And probably about this time next year, they will start going vertical, meaning that they will start building homes there. And last council meeting, we approved the first reading to rezone a 110-acre tract near the middle school, Rocker Middle School, and the Walden Sewer Districts for 325 single-family homes. Yeah. It probably taken about 3 years for that project really to get started. Across from Basilton, or next to Basilton, there was an improvement for a 200 plus apartment complex. The developer, they're still working on the financing. So hopefully that will be built in the next couple of years. The city, when we speak to developers, we push the need for apartments, the need for townhomes. That is what I'm trying to work with some developers in downtown, especially the Springs block, where we have apartments on the second floor, commercial space on the ground floor. And that is going to help with downtown itself. And now you have more people living downtown. It's going to spur hopefully more investment and more entrepreneurs wanting to open up a business downtown. So there is interest in Lancaster and the subdivisions.
Okay, you touched on it, and I know this answer, but so that everybody else understands this. When we get all these homes and everything, you talk about infrastructure. We only have so many grocery stores, so many different things. Does the city have any input, try to reach out, or is that just more of the business community saying, hey, there's growth in Lancaster in the city, let's go and let's look? How does that work?
Well, we actually recruit. We have a consulting firm, Retail Strategies. They help with retail recruitment for commercials. What a lot of the, like your Publix, your Harris Teeter, they look at, okay, your growth, your demographics, your medium household income. And with the new developments we have coming on, we are getting some looks. People are actually looking at us. A couple of years ago, we did have a target. Developer kind of looked. No, it wasn't quite right. And unfortunately, now it's a target being built in Indian Land. Now, good for the county, but we won't be able to track one here in the city. But we are becoming on people's radar, especially the developers that work on retail.
Okay. Yeah, because that's always, that's one of those things people always ask. All right, what's coming? Why can't we have this? But they always look at rooftops. They always look at traffic flows. They always look at those kind of things. in order to bring here. And you got to have growth to have certain things. If you don't have growth, you're not going to have certain things. So people have to understand that.
Yeah, it's kind of the chicken and the egg because, retail, even industry, they follow rooftops, but you can't get to rooftop unless you have these amenities and grocery stores and restaurants.
Yeah.
And another thing too is, you look at, let's say, an Olive Garden. In order to open up an Olive Garden, you need about $2.5 million because you got to pay the franchise fee. Then you have to remodel meet their spec for the restaurants. Then, the royalty fees. Then I think like Olive Garden, Longhorn Steak, they want that franchisee owner to have $1 million of assets too. So yeah, it's really difficult for someone to open up a restaurant because it's all the upfront costs. And they're looking at their numbers too. Okay, based on median household income, we should generate X revenue, and that's just not going to meet the pro formas. But as we get more growth, more people, the numbers start looking better.
Yeah. Yeah. They got to get their money back in their investment. So they got to have rooftops and traffic count. And that's important. So, okay. Well, those are kind of the questions I had that kind of came out. Is there anything else you'd like to just sum this up with? They have questions. Who do they get in touch with their city council person? Kind of how does that work?
Well, I say if they have questions, the best thing to do is reach out to City Hall, reach out to me, because I always say decisions are made by those who show up. So, I understand people have a busy schedule. They may not be able to make it to a council meeting, but send an email. They can make a call. A lot of it is just like just questions. They want to know what's going on, and the more information we can get out, the better.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I want to do this is just get information out. If they have questions, I can reach out to you guys. But this Q&A with Flip was pretty beneficial. So Flip, I appreciate you taking the time today to kind of inform the citizens of the city of Lancaster what's going on.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I appreciate you inviting me on.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, everybody else, we hope you enjoyed today's topic, Q&A with Flip here with A Minute with Marty. Have a good day.